New data that's just come out this morning about fatal encounters with police. We are learning more people in Canada died during interactions with officers last year than at any time since tracking began in the year 2000. The Tracking Injustice Project found police use of force encounters in Canada left a record number of 69 people dead last year. The report found Black and Indigenous people have made up a disproportionate number of deaths over the 23 years on record. Brett Ruskin is going to begin our coverage again this hour. He's in our Halifax newsroom looking through the numbers in some more detail. Brett, for us, what do they tell us about these interactions with police?
Yeah, Heather, through the course of this study, all of this data was collected. Total 704 people died from fatal police interactions in Canada across the country from the year 2000 to the year 2022. And as you just mentioned, last year, 2022, saw those 69 deaths, the highest on record, according to this data. Now, this has all been gathered and confirmed and researched, all the details filled in by a team of researchers from the Canadian Civil Liberties Association, from researchers at the University of Toronto, Carleton University, as well as Queen's University. And they have been working with different advocacy groups as well, talking about the importance of collecting this data, sharing it publicly for basically for citizens as well as families of these victims. Here's one of the researchers talking about this project.
We have a systemic reality of injustice, not only for the victims, but in particular for the surviving family members and friends and communities left behind, seeking injustice, trying to cope with the tragic death and murder of their loved ones. And so that's really what we're trying to highlight here with the Tracking Injustice website.
And so digging into the details of this Tracking Injustice website, you take a look, there's not only this trend, this upward trend of more fatal police interactions, but also we're finding that Black Canadians, Indigenous Canadians are more represented, disproportionately represented in this data. So you take a look, Black people represent 3.8% of the overall Canadian population, but 8.1% of these fatal police interactions. Same thing with Indigenous Canadians, 5.1% of the overall population, but 16.2% of fatal police interactions with this data. So all kinds of concerns here with this data, again, made public for everyone to see. Heather.
How exactly did this coalition go about compiling the data, Brett?
Oh, yeah, a lot of it actually came from CBC News' program, their project back a couple of years ago called Deadly Force. It looked at some stats from 2000 to 2017 and then updated again in 2020, found 555 different fatal police interactions, looking at police agencies all across the country, accumulating, gathering this data. This research group, this team, took that, ran with it, added more years, more information, and reconfirmed all of these details of all of these cases so that it is now a part of this academic document, academic database. And they're asking people who may have additional information, who may know of other cases, or who may be able to fill in more of the details around each one of these fatal police interactions. They can reach out, submit their information to this database so it can grow and live on to share this story, to share this issue. Heather.
Thank you, Brett. Brett Ruskin in the newsroom in Halifax.